Hello, everybody. So we probably have heard about this. I think I talked about it at the time. It took 3 years, would you believe, for this board of inquiry to come out with this. Now, to be totally honest with you, we do, and just to say it from the beginning, we do need a lot more guards like this that generally done it in the best interest, wasn't doing it for any ill intention or anything like that. Give an elderly man a bicycle during when everybody was locked down from to get around. He was a vulnerable citizen. It was a bike that obviously it was left probably in the Garda station for years and nobody claimed it. But the only thing he didn't do is he didn't fill out the necessary paperwork to say he gives it to the man to use. And he was a vulnerable citizen, he was an elderly citizen. And to be totally honest, the guard just done in the best interest of him, out of the goodness of his heart. Now, you could say he might have forgot, he might have didn't bother to fill in the paperwork, whatever the case was be. It wasn't to do with any illness, it wasn't to do with any wrongdoing or anything. It was doing in the best interest of the citizen. And for him to be suspended for 3 years by the Garda Commissioner does call in, well, Drew Howard shouldn't be the Garda Commissioner first of all. But it does call in the question, why was that guard suspended for 3 years when he was doing a good thing? Like, anybody could tell you he was doing a good thing. And if they dismissed him or fired him from his job, and then what they did to him afterwards, they basically got rid of him for 3 years. And now, before that, he's been exonerated, obviously, which is a great thing that they did, because it would have been a sin if they fired him straight up for being again, he's a long time serving member from Garda Síochána. And these are the guards we need. We don't need the guards in higher positions in the Garda Síochána like Drew Howes and stuff like that. There's corruption going on in the guards. As John Wilson and Miles McCabe are the biggest criminal gang in the state, and to be totally honest, they probably are. We see it every day of the week. Garda doing wrongdoings and stuff. Nothing's ever said. It's all forgotten about by the end of the week. And when a guard actually does something to help the public, to help a citizen, a vulnerable citizen, as everybody keeps going on about, the government or care or the home and stuff like this. And when a guard actually goes out of the way to help somebody, even though you could argue he should have done the paper and he should have went by procedure. But at the end of the day, he was doing a good turn, and I think when somebody does a good turn, procedure doesn't matter. As long as you're doing a good thing and you know that you help somebody. It's not like he went and took the bike that it was owned by the elderly gentleman in question and took it off him, and without any cause or anything like that, just say, "I'll take that bike, take you, good luck." He wasn't doing anything harsh. He was basically just going. He was doing what he thought was right, and we do need a lot more girls like that. If we had that in the country, we'd be a lot better than Garda Síochána. And it's just this too. Like, alone, it shouldn't have took 3 years for this to be done. Like, clearly, it's a clear cut case. You could argue the girl done wrong not filling in the paperwork. Anybody could argue that, but the intention was good. Like, the intention was good. It's fair to be seen that the intention was very good. That he wasn't doing it for his own self gain, right? He was doing it for the benefit of the elderly gentleman. And at the end of the day, that's commendable. That is really, really commendable for a member of Garda Síochána to take of somebody, to take of the public, to serve the public in the way he did. Particularly, as I say, he's an elderly gentleman that he gave the bike to. It's not like the elderly gentleman was going to sell it or something like that. And it's totally wrong what happened, especially with criminal investigation being led into it. And the Drew Howes does have questions too why he suspended it. Because if I was the Garda Commissioner, I'd be saying, this man done nothing wrong. That's Garda literally selling drugs in Garda stations and stuff like that. It's happening all the time. Drugs are going missing in Garda things and stuff. It's happened all the time. It's never said about an OT, of course, but it happens all the time. As Miles McCabe said, and he was a sergeant in the Garda Síochána, and John Wilson, the biggest criminal gang in the state. And to be totally honest, it's not. And the superintendent here in Cavan, the last superintendent was in with the drugs and stuff like that. So they're not all saints. And it's definitely, we have to ask the question. The question has to be asked: why is so many Gardaí leaving on Garda Síochána? What is happening in behind the scenes? There's definitely this stuff going on, but the Gardaí are afraid to speak out. We've seen what happened with Miles McCabe, John Wilson. The names dragged through the mud, by Francis Fitzgerald, by the rest of the establishment at the time, but when you see this, it doesn't help people what to join on Garda Síochána. When you think you're doing a good thing and you're helping somebody, on Garda Síochána treat you like you literally killed somebody. Like, at the end of the day, in my opinion, again, he did fail to fill out the paperwork. I won't say he did when he didn't fill it out. He should have, but at the end of the day, the intention was good. And I usually don't take up for Garda Síochána too much, but the intention here was good, and at the end of the day, he done the good thing. He done a good deed for a citizen of the country. And there's nothing really more to be said. It should have only took 5 minutes for anything to be done. Like, it shouldn't have took 3 years, and for him to be put away from the public, not out in active duty and stuff like that, it's a sin. And not even that, dragging his name through the mud, trying to make sure that he done make him feel like he done something wrong or something like that. and then social in his home too, etc., etc. There was nothing really done when the people who Maurice McCabe was speaking out and stuff like that. They'll never investigate this out. They'll probably still on Garda Síochána before, it's the same with many things. Again, when if somebody does a good thing, the state comes after you. When you do a bad thing, you're protected by the state. Like we're not even going to mention about Donegal. I was going to mention about YouTube. Hope you have impressed about it, but there's many questions to be asked. But certain incidents in Donegal, take for example, in the last 20 years or so, about superintendents and Garda stations taking phone calls and stuff like that. There's questions to be asked there, but they never be answered. There'll never be any disability about that, or there'll never be any hearings or anything about that. Of course not. And not even that, other cases around the country that have things been phoned in by up from Dublin down to the Garda stations to stop looking into stuff, forget that this happened, looked away from this, and not even to mention on Garda Síochána back during COVID and stuff, they wouldn't answer 99 calls and we're just ignoring them. So it's a great police service we have in the state, totally. But yeah, I just wanted to give my thoughts on that. Like, it's a joke that this guard had to go through that. And especially because at the end of the day, in my opinion, he was doing a good deed, and when somebody does a good deed, it's plain to be seen that he gained nothing from doing it. He gained nothing from doing it, helping an elderly man. At the end of the day, it wasn't the most evil crime ever committed. Like, if you look on Garda Síochána's history, it barely scratches the surface of anything. Like, if you've seen what some of the guards were up to years ago and some of the guards were up to this day, you be asking really why did they spend 3 years doing this kind of crack, and why did Drew Harris not bring somebody that actually did something to the attention of the sport? But never be asked.